I wanted to talk about something that I think is really important for everybody going through this, and this is finding your motivation to do something you love to do, to get out, to push yourself to do something that maybe you haven't done in a while, or maybe you haven't put any interest or any effort into because you're afraid your ex is going to take it from you, or you're afraid that it just won't feel the same way. When you're dealing with the adverse effects of all of this, and you're feeling really down, and you're feeling really depressed and defeated, the last thing you want to do is get up and do anything new. The last thing you want to do is put yourself out there. Hell, most of the time it's even hard just to even get out of bed. But I challenge you to take a pause, find something, anything you like to do. Like, one of the things I like to do is I like photography. I like cameras. I like making images. I like making videos. Actually, the video thing is a new thing. But that's one of those things that really used to give me a lot of joy. And I know that in the beginning of all this, whenever I was really struggling and my ex was making a play, quote unquote, for all of my equipment, I was reluctant to use any of it because I didn't want her to be able to take something else away from me. I felt that I was losing so much, and every time I turned around, I was having to jump through some other flaming hoop to try to accomplish something that I was worried that if I really dove into one of my true passions, one of the things I really enjoyed, that I would ultimately have to give all that stuff up, have to sell it just to give her half the money, because that's what she was threatening at the time. And it was too much for me. Now, I know I've chatted about this in other videos, but I just wanted to hit this again because I didn't really fully understand the impact of all this at the time. And I remember having a conversation with, well, actually my ex-brother-in-law, who strongly encouraged me to do this. And it's like, look, if you love this stuff, you should do it. Don't let her ruin everything. And this isn't talking about it, well, it's his stepsister, but it was, this person he grew up with. It's really tough when everything is being destroyed and you know that your ex knows what you like. You know that your ex knows what's important to you. And you also know that they're targeting that. Of course, they're targeting the kids and they're targeting your finances and everything. But a lot of times they will target anything that was of any remote importance to you, to include your hobbies. So they might turn around and say, you have tools and they're worth a bunch of money and I want my half. Or it could be camera equipment, it could be guns, it could be bowling, whatever the heck it is. If you still have access to the equipment, to the gear, and it gives you joy, go do it. In the chat conversation that I was having with someone earlier about this, they were talking about fishing. They enjoyed fishing. And it's, find whatever is a passion for you and try to work toward that. Now, what I'll also say is if you've lost your equipment, if you don't have it and you're not sure, find something else that you've always wanted to do. Find some new thing. Do something to try to add a little bit of joy and a little bit of peace into your life so that you're not focused constantly on all the chaos and drama and just letting it beat you down. Like I said at the beginning of this, I know that's incredibly difficult. And I struggled with that too. I didn't want to do anything. I remember at one point on the camera equipment, I asked my attorney, I'm like, well, can I sell this stuff to pay you? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. You can do that. That you can do. So I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to put it up in a cupboard, which I did. And I just held it there as an insurance policy that if this turned into a frickin' nightmare, which it was a nightmare, but I mean, even worse, and she was going after that, I would unask that and use that to pay for the attorney because I was damned and determined that I wasn't going to have to get rid of all that stuff to just give her the money for it. Bottom line is, most of the time in these situations, it's not even a legitimate fear. I mean, it's a legitimate fear. Let me back up. It is a legitimate fear, but it's not really worth the amount of anxiety and stress that we put into it. Because a lot of times what happens is these people don't realize that their stuff is fair game too. And that's ultimately what I ended up doing. I'm like, okay, all right, if you want to play that game, then, you know, all your crafting stuff and everything that's important to you is also on the table, right? And it was actually kind of funny because when that happened, it was like, well, wait a minute, that's not the same thing. You know, that's my stuff. I'm like, this is back whenever I didn't really understand everything. And I'm like, what planet are you from? You know, what is this? You all my stuff's fair game, but your stuff is off the table. I mean, it was just one of those crazy things. The thing to remember is it's not about the stuff. It's just about hurting you. And most of the time, these people don't really think about what they're doing. They don't really think about how this whole thing is going to play out. And most of the time, they'll cut their nose off to spite their face. So if you're in that situation and you're early in this, I really encourage you to still do things you like to do, whatever it is, whatever you can do. I mean, hell, if it's just going for a walk or a hike, do that. And if there's stuff that you don't have anymore, there's stuff that they've taken from you, or there's stuff that's in limbo and is currently being attacked, just find a way to do it around it. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I wish that I would have known about the camera systems that I'm using now because they're relatively inexpensive. Not that I would have had the money for it, but I could have easily just got something different and left all my other normal stuff and still been able to create, still been able to find my passion, still been able to find something that would make me happy and give me joy. One thing I just want to add on this before I go is that during the course of this, I did have a friend of mine, the individual I did the podcast with that a few months ago, really good friend of mine. And he did an outstanding job of trying to drag me around as much as possible to get me out of my shell, to go take pictures, to go on boondoggles, to do things that I really just didn't have the time to do. And he was really forcing me to get out of my shell. I hope you guys have friends like that around you. If you do, and they are trying to pull you out, take them up on it. Just do it. See, for me, what I've known is that most of the time when I go to do something that I'm not really looking forward to, like 90% of the time when I'm done with it, I'm really glad I did it and I feel a lot better. Hopefully that'll be the case for you. So on that, I'm going to wrap it up. I would like to say this though, before you go, what hobbies and what things are you interested in, or what things, maybe you're not able to do them, but what are you interested in? I would just be curious to know what you guys are into. And on that, I'll chat with you on the next video. Take care.